double-decker burn!
We are live from the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. There's a sellout crowd, of course, a wild air of anticipation. The undefeated Chicago Bears are in town to meet the Miami Dolphins. There have been 3 undefeated teams in the NFL over the years. The Bears have a pair of them. The last to be undefeated were the 72 Dolphins. 14-0 regular season. They went to 17-0 with the victory over Washington in Super Bowl VII. The offensive set with Nat Moore in it that was so successful in the first half is on the field now for a 3rd down and 6. Duper, Moore, and Clayton. Out of the way. Into the arms of Clayton. Oh, and are things going right for the Dolphins tonight? 42-yard touchdown. Batted into the air at the line of scrimmage. This is vintage Monday Night Football. Dwight Stevenson remains the center, even though in pain with the right shoulder injury for the Dolphins. Marino gets the pressure, but he gets it to Nat Moore. And there are quarterbacks who bring magic to a football team. McMahon is a type of quarterback, a Bobby Lane, if you will. Pardon me, Joe Namath, if you will. Final seconds ticking off. Bears will not go undefeated, but they have put life and a spark into football in general and Chicago in particular. What a victory for the Dolphins. And Dan Marino reigns supreme once again. Peyton on the night will wind up with 121 yards.
Armchair Quarterbacks Radio covers the whole SEC the whole season long.
Down. Here's Tua stepping back, loads up, looks long, throws, end zone, touchdown! Alabama! Devontae Smith! Touchdown, Alabama! And the Crimson Tide has once again ascended to the top of the college football mountain. Again, it's going to be Propel, Wing, and the kicker, Drew Alamo. LSU remains undefeated. Passes away, penalty flag down. Lamar Thomas has got it. Lamar Thomas is on his way down the sideline. George Teague is after him and runs him down. Takes the ball away from him. He's got the ball. And congratulations to the LSU Tigers, the 2008 BCS National Champion.
Armchair.
SEC!
Oh, please, not the Ashbys.
Family emergency? Apparently it's so urgent they didn't even have time to think of a plausible excuse.
So where does that leave us?
Well, let's see. We have a third-rate caterer with a record. 2 lushes. A couple who think we're both nutcases. An Argentine wild child and Ross. Dinner is served.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
But what the hell, boy?
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes. And what a lovely morning.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Major League Baseball action gets going tonight, 7:05 Eastern. It's the Angels and Yankees, Tyon versus Heaney. 7:05, the Tampa Bay Rays, they take on the Washington Nationals. Rich Hill and Joe Ross are on the mound. 7:10 Eastern, it's Brad Keller and the Kansas City Royals heading to Fenway Park to take on Nick Pivetta and the Boston Red Sox. 7:20 Eastern, old familiar foes, the Mets, travel to Atlanta to begin a 3-game series against the Braves. Tyler Miguel versus Charlie Morton. 8:10 Eastern, Zach Davies versus Brandon Woodruff. And at 8:15, the Diamondbacks, in their league-low 22 wins, they're at St. Louis. The Cardinals will send Carlos Martinez to the mound. Marlins and Phillies at 7:05, Trevor Rogers and his 2.08 ERA head-to-head versus Spencer Howard. Mariners and Blue Jays, it's Flexen versus Robbie Ray. Tigers and Indians, Urena, 2-8 with a 6 ERA, is on the hill for Detroit. Padres and Reds, a good series in their own right. Blake Snell will try to lower his 5.29 ERA. Orioles and Astros, Jose Urquidy pitches for Houston. Twins, White Sox, Dylan Cease looks to continue his great 2021 season. The Pirates and Rockies, in the probably nobody's watching game, Chase DeYoung versus Herman Marquez and his 3.99 ERA. Rangers and A's, it's Fulte versus James Caprillion. And at 10 o'clock Eastern on the 4-letter network, Giants and Dodgers, Kevin Gausman and Walker Buehler go head-to-head in a classic pitching battle. The NBA Eastern Conference Finals continues on TNT tonight, 8:30 Eastern, Bucks and Hawks, game number 4. And the National Hockey League takes a break. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs continues tomorrow night. Former NFL wide receiver Demaryius Thomas has announced his retirement from the National Football League on Monday. Thomas, typically quiet off the field and on the field, announced it via tweet. Quote, "I'm Demaryius Thomas, and I've finally come to a decision to hang it up. I'm going to retire, and I'm going to retire a Denver Bronco." If you're sitting there wondering, I thought he was already retired, Demaryius Thomas has not played in the National Football League since 2019 with the New York Football Jets, where he caught 36 passes for 433 yards. Prior to that, 275 yards with the Texans. His last 1,000-yard season was in 2016. Demaryius Thomas amassed 9,763 yards receiving over his 10-year career, 724 receptions with 63 touchdowns. Thomas will be honored this year at home against the New York Jets. Denver will put Demaryius Thomas in their Ring of Honor. And an MRI on the sprained ankle of Atlanta Hawks star Trae Young revealed a bone bruise in his foot Monday afternoon. He'll be listed as questionable for Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Hawks forward John Collins said, quote, "That's the head of our snake. The last thing I feel like anybody who is a Hawks supporter wants to see is that dude coming down with any sort of a nicky knack or whatever it is. I think he stepped on the official's foot or somebody's foot. That's the last thing I want to see. I hate to see it and just hoping and praying that he's going to be okay," unquote. Young sprained the ankle with 36 seconds to go in the third quarter of Game 3 on Sunday when he inadvertently stepped on the right foot of referee Sean Wright. The Atlanta Hawks were leading by 5 before his injury. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good morning. I don't know much, but I know one thing. All my Florida peeps better be investing in a jacket because my casa is open for every one of you in February. Stadium Series, Tampa Bay Lightning, Nashville's Predators. Mandatory meeting. See you here.
I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. I don't go to Tennessee in February. That's cuckoo talk.
All right, listen up, y'all. I'm y'all substitute teacher, Mr. Garvey. I taught school for 20 years in the inner city, so don't even think about messing with me. Y'all feel me? Let's take a roll here. Jay Quellen. Where's Jay Quellen at? No Jay Quellen here?
Do you mean Jacqueline?
Okay, so that's how it's gonna be. Y'all wanna play. Okay then, I got my eye on you, Jay Quellen. Balake. Where is Balake at? There's no Balake here today. Yes, sir.
My name's Blake.
Are you out of your mind? Blake. Do you want to go to war, Balake?
No.
Because we could go to war.
No.
I'm for real. I'm for real. D nice. Is there a D nice? If one of y'all says some silly ass name, this whole class is gonna feel my wrath. Now, D nice.
Do you mean Denise?
Son of a...
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi. Top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Mac McGee, sitting alongside Justin Waller. Justin, how the hell are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Mac. I'm excited about the announcement of that Stadium Series, and I'll keep you warm,
What
buddy.
does that? What does that mean? Stadium Series.
It's going to be like the Winter Classic. They do some scheduled outdoor Stadium Series for hockey, so it will be outdoor at Nissan Stadium. Be a huge event, large crowd. After seeing the Winter Classic last year in Dallas, where the Stars and Preds play, I highly recommend. Dude, we'll sit club level, buddy. We'll get you in the heater. You got to make it happen. Come on. The Casa's open.
What's the date on that?
February. We don't know the date yet. Just got announced last night, and
gotcha.
we're waiting on the particulars there. But yeah, for all of our Armchair Quarterback peeps, open invitation. Let's make this happen. Since we couldn't go see All-Star Baseball, let's go see a Stadium Series.
Assuming it doesn't fall along this, my sister got married during COVID, and no one came for obvious reasons. So we're doing something in February for her. As long as it doesn't fall along the line with that, I might be able to sneak away. Excuse me. But the game last night, Tampa Bay, Montreal, man, Lightning put it on them. 5-1 for folks that missed that game. Tampa Bay leads the series 1-0. I'm not by any means thinking this is a sign that they're going to win the title, because Montreal's done this to us before, and they came out and just start swinging the hammer. So I'm looking at it what it is. We're up 1-0, and that's all I'm looking at it is. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what I expected. I think it's just the unfamiliarity of playing outside of your division or your little nucleus cluster of teams that you've played. So you saw this in the start of the Vegas series. Vegas came out and score was similar. I don't remember the exact score, but game one was lopsided. It was, oh, here we go. It's going to be Vegas in the finals again. And then you saw Montreal make those adjustments. So I think you'll see some adjustments game two. Now, I think you're dealing with a different beast when you move from the Knights to the Lightning as far as lineup top to bottom, and just how diverse that lineup can be in the situations and matchups you can create. So Montreal's going to have to be creative. I don't think it's over. I think they'll make a series of it, but my gut still says Tampa in 6.
Yeah, the thing is, I want to see them win it on home ice. I'm really hoping they win in 5, because I really like it, because the fans obviously got robbed of what happened last year. And look, regardless, you're going to celebrate, but it'd be cool for them to hit home ice. So that's the difficult thing when it goes 2-2, 1-1, 1-1-1. There's a very good chance that the thing is not won on your home ice. But I'm still going with Tampa in 7. I just got this feeling that Montreal is not done, and I don't give a damn if Tampa goes up 3-0. I feel like Montreal is not done until I see them cut the head off that snake. I feel like Montreal is one of these teams that, I know it's an overused term, but a team of destiny. and they just seem like that they are carrying that country on their back. We've talked about how long it's been since they've won one, and we'll see what happens as far as game number 2 will be tomorrow night. Obviously, no hockey tonight. The NBA, by the way, for people that missed that, the Suns got rolled in by the Clippers last night, so there will be a game 6 tomorrow night. Tonight, the big question in everyone's mind is whether or not Trae Young is going to play. He came out yesterday that he's got a bone bruise. So I don't know what the hell that means. I don't know if that means that's something he's going to be able to play on. He looked like he was in extreme pain the other night when they brought him back on the court, and then he tried to he looked terrible. I don't know if you saw that clip or not, Justin, but he couldn't walk. So I don't know how a guy 48 hours later is going to be able to play professional basketball game at a high level. We'll see. They definitely need him. Without him, Atlanta has no chance. They have no chance. I mean, he's literally the franchise. But
yeah, I mean, I hope he makes it back. I hope they can make a series of it. I mean, I'm not opposed to the Bucks winning this, but since we do have some new faces in the final, but I really had locked in that I would like to see Suns Hawks, and since I've gotten so close, man, I just want to see it. I think that would be an interesting matchup. But barring that everybody's healthy, obviously without Trae Young, it's not going to be pretty. Yeah, I don't think there's a chance they get past Milwaukee without him.
He's just really fun to watch, and look, even if they don't make it, I'd like to see him play the series because he's just such an entertaining scorer, performer, player, whatever you want to call him. He's fun to watch, and without him, Atlanta becomes very pedestrian. And John Collins and company will do their best, but I think they'll have a hard time scoring enough points. I mean, this is a guy that can drop 48 at any time in a playoff game, so losing him would feel like you lost the series. Although I've seen the Bucks choke away worse, so we'll see where that goes. Real quick before we get into our college football, I do want to remember to do our picks of the day. So if you can pull that up, I'm going to pull mine up as well. Get our picks against the spread as we dive into the first quarter of the Armchair Quarterbacks. You can't go hockey tonight, so where are you going?
Yeah, I'm a little bit handicapped there. Let's see here. Do you have yours already?
I got a couple in mind. Yeah,
okay.
I can go first. Let me see here. Sorry, the page is having a hard time. Here we go. I find it strange. Money line Trevor Rogers in Philly. I get that Philly is a better team in the standings, but Trevor Rogers versus Velasquez, I'm going to take my chances with the Marlins on the road tonight on an even money line. I think they have a very good chance of pulling that off, and people haven't paid attention to Rogers. He was like my sleeper pick that I really liked in fantasy baseball this year, so I've got him in all my leagues, all 7 of my leagues, which is just ridiculous. But the fact of the matter is the guy's got like a 2 ERA, and any Braves fan, any baseball fan knows what you're going to get out of Velasquez. He's probably going to pitch a few really good innings and going to look like Cy Young. And somewhere along the way, he is not going to be able to get out of like the 4th or 5th inning and give up 4 runs. That's usually what his MO is. So that's why I'm going with Trevor Rogers on the even money line. What you got?
Not seeing a whole lot that I'm just absolutely in love with. So I'm going to go out west with San Francisco and LA. And I will take, I'm going to rod San Francisco going in there right now. Money line's dropping tremendously. A lot of the money's falling them. So
I like it.
I'm going to take Gausman versus Bueller. I was flirting with the over there, but I'm going to take John straight up. I like the plus 125.
I actually just did it myself. Like on my personal, I went ahead and took it. I really like that one. Look, I get Bueller's good, but man, Gausman, it really pisses you off if he's ever been on your team, whether you're a Braves fan or whatever. He's been around the league. This guy is just back to being like Cy Young worthy. As good as Bueller is, Gausman has been like unbelievable. One other game that I will say that I am intrigued in, you got the Rays in Washington tonight. Rich Hill minus 111 on the money line. up against Joe Ross, and Joe Ross tends to give up a lot of taters. So, by the way, have you paid attention to what the freaking Nats are doing? It's not good. They are on fire. They pounded the Mets last night 8-4. Schwarber hit 2 more home runs. 2 more. And it's funny because on the fantasy show we did on Saturday, all they keep telling me is that his luck's going to run out. His luck's going to run out. I don't think it's luck. And I'll tell you what I was most impressed with. So I watched a good bit of that game last night because the Braves were off. Check this out, Justin. After he had already hit 2 home runs, what would most guys be doing up there? They'd be trying to get another home run, right? Like, I'm hot. You know what this guy does? He sees the shift and he dumps one down the line. I think it ended up being a single because the left fielder got to it, but he didn't give a damn. His team was up by a few runs, and he was just trying to apply pressure. And for a guy to hit home run, and then go, you're giving me the left field line, and just frisbeed it out there. And when a guy's doing that, he's legit. And by the way, 2016, you remember this guy like rolled out of bed and hit like 380 in the playoffs? Like you could not get this guy out, and he was gone for most of the year because of an injury. I think he's a professional hitter, and when he's going well, I would never bet against the guy. But the Nats need to get some losses, is my point, because the Braves host the Mets today. 3-game series, huge series. We've got DeGrom versus Smiley in game 3, which means these first 2 games are enormous. Morton and Max Fried supposed to come back from the IL. Morton and Fried the next 2 days. Miguel of the Mets, who obviously is a young guy, so he's pitched well, but come on. And then Wednesday it's Taijuan Walker versus Max Fried coming off the IL. So this first game's enormous. If we can get Morton what he was the last 2 starts, the Braves could actually make some headway here heading into the All-Star break.
I agree. I mean, they're only 4.5 back. It's hard to believe that we're talking about this, especially coming off the news of the weekend with the additional setback for Soroka. The re-torn Achilles again. So
yeah, he's done.
You're punting to mid All-Star break next season at this point.
Best case scenario. He may not pitch again until 2023. And my biggest concern, I don't know about you, is he ever going to be the same?
Yeah, I mean, what happens to that arm? Yeah, absolutely. What happens to his mental status? How does he bounce back from that? It's a horrible setback. But yes, you've got to hope that it opens the way. We saw Mueller step up in some big spots. Hopefully we can find those timely starts. And if Morton, Anderson, and Fried can return to form, you have a chance.
Yeah, I would be well, plus you got Inoa coming back, right? I don't think starting pitching is really the Braves' Achilles heel.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
My question, one point, is for those young guys, the Mueller, the Noahs, the Wilsons, the guys I'm leaving out. There's plenty of unknown names that we could throw in there. Does Soroka being out permanently and not looking over your shoulder, knowing it's temporary and you've got a chance to fight for rotation this year and possibly work your way into it next, does that benefit this Braves team? That they can actually take that off, that, hey, this isn't temporary. I got a year stint here if I can make this happen.
Yeah, well, if you look at the young pitchers, Mueller and Soroka and Davidson, who I know he's on the IL right now, but they're not expecting it to be major. It's more precautionary. Man, you've got good young pitching. There's no reason next year, in my opinion, to even necessarily have to go out and get I guess what I'm saying is Charlie Morton might be one and done. Okay. And you might have to eat some of this money because I don't really know what in the hell we're going to end up with long-term with Ozuna. There hasn't been a peep out of the Major League Baseball office on what his status will be. And look, I'm not expecting him to play this year. And I know it's still raw and everyone's going to want to kill the guy for it. But at the same token, we are a country that usually gives people a second chance. So with that being said, is he in the game plan for next year? Because if you just drop him, you're going to give someone else one hell of a bat, right? But at the same token, how's he going to play in that locker room, et cetera, et cetera? So you got to take you got to take a lot into consideration. You might have to spend the money you spent on Soroka and on Morton and Smiley this year. You might have to spend that money on a bat next year because the starting pitching is pretty damn good. Get you a bat and make sure you go into the season with a freaking bullpen. I still think they're going to make a move for a bullpen down the stretch. The problem is with the AA, he's usually very stingy with his moves. So he only wants to give up future picks and, guys that are like AAA, that have been like lifetime AAAers, and the people who are making trades from this guy's not a real guy. Look, as much talent as we have, why can't you move Kyle Wright at this point? Maybe a change of scenery could help the kid. You've got plenty of starting pitching arms. We've seen that. And I know you can never have enough. Dude, that guy is not the answer. I mean, I'm tired of banging my head against the wall every time I see him come up. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's Colby Allard 2.0. It's just let's run the kid out to where, I mean, eventually you just let him go because you burn out all your value. I mean,
yeah, they ended up trading him out to Texas. I don't even know what they got him for at the time.
It was Chris Martin. Wasn't that the Martin trade?
Okay. Well, actually, that's decent for both sides, to be honest with you, because he's been a serviceable guy for the Rangers so far, and Martin hasn't pitched that great this year, but I do believe better days are in front of him. Let's go ahead and get into the college football. We're going to do Wake Forest and Louisville. Won't do a deep dive today, but we do want to make sure that we're hitting some of these teams in the Southern conferences, because when we come back from the break next week, I believe we're hitting the ground running with Ole Miss. I think that's next Tuesday, so I'm excited for that. But we want to make sure that we get some of these teams in here. So Louisville and Wake Forest. I want to make sure we did Wake Forest with you because I knew they were your darlings. Was it last year or the year before? And curious to see what your take on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons are this year.
Well, I don't think it's going to be as optimistic as it was last season, where I think we had them 5-0 going into the Florida State game. And
yeah.
Wasn't far off, but it wasn't 5-0.
I think that was actually 2 years ago, because I think Forbes was a part of that, wasn't he?
It was 2 years ago. Yeah. I believe that was Newman quarterbacking at that time. I believe it was still. Yeah. Man, this one's hard because I don't know what to expect out of Florida State and Syracuse. So I could flip this and see this team going 9-3, or I could see it flipping completely and going 4-8. It's out of the gate. Looks favorable for Wake Forest with the Old Dominion, Norfolk State. Then you've got Florida State and at Virginia. The big question is there, can you run 3-1 out of that, possibly be 4-0 going into the matchup with Louisville? And if you split it up, I think they have a team that can do that. The question is defensively, can they hang in there and shut some of these teams out? Because the road games after their favorable start off, I mean, at Syracuse, at Army, at North Carolina, at Clemson, that's a tough slate. If that defense can't keep you in, it won't even be able to handle the option at Army. So I'm going to split and go down the road and say 6-6, because this is a complete coin toss for me. I don't feel that there's enough defense returning that I feel they can shut down and keep them in these games to win some of these shootouts.
Strangely enough, the over under, for win totals. Now I'm getting this from CBS Sports. So I don't know if this is like actual, but usually CBS Sports does a good job of grabbing it from Vegas. But the over under win total for Wake Forest this year is 6.5. So, when you look at wins that you think that they'll probably get would be Old Dominion, Norfolk State. At Syracuse is a tough one, because look, a couple of years ago, Syracuse looked like a really good football program. And then last year, they looked like Syracuse. And you're like, what the hell is going on here? Because I thought they turned a corner and they had not. So then they've got Duke and Boston College. Here's the crazy thing that I just scrolled past. So like 6.5. Yeah, that's a respectable season. You know what the Florida State win total is this year for the over-under? 5.5. That's not fun. That's not
gonna
fun
burn
at all.
somebody.
Dude, that's not fun at all. Now, I will say one thing for Norvell. He's having a hell of a recruiting class, and we'll see how that ends up so far, right now, because what are we in June? So every time I
think you should buy the half game and take the 5 over. Don't get burned on the half.
When we do Florida State later on the summer, that's going to be an interesting one because you got teams on the schedule for Florida State, like North Carolina's, their over under win total is 10, and they're going to be in the top 10 in most. They've also got to play Miami. Their over and under win total is 9.5. So right there. And I would say Florida is probably right in that same vernacular. And so they've got a lot of tough games. They've got winnable games. They've got a lot of tough games. The Jacksonville States and UMasses on their schedule, there's better be W's because you're going to have some at Clemson's and at Florida's that are going to make it a little rough to get to that 5.5 total. The other team that we were going to do today was Louisville. And, okay. I thought they skipped them. I was like, maybe CBS doesn't know Louisville's in the ACC. I tend to forget sometimes. So their over under is 6.5 this year. And that's interesting to me because they have games out. Granted, I believe it's at home. Maybe it's a neutral. They have games against Ole Miss and Central Florida at a conference. So that's not an easy road by any stretch of the imagination.
Ole Miss kicks off the season in Atlanta.
Against
UCF is at home.
Okay, so the Louisville Ole Miss game is Atlanta. Okay. They've got to go to Florida State. They've got to go to NC State, and they've got Clemson on their schedule. For them to get to those 7 wins, Louisville's going to have to beat Eastern Kentucky, the at Wake Forest game, which is going to be big because I think it's going to be a swing game for those two programs, Virginia, Boston College, Syracuse, at Duke, and home against Kentucky. So they got winnable games, but, man, I think I would probably go under just because something's going to go awry. Because, first of all, we haven't even done Boston College this year. Boston College got a hell of an offense.
And I wouldn't walk past that UCF. I think Gus Malzahn will not have them boys.
It's not going to be
unprepared. They're going to be ready.
No matter what it is, it won't be easy to defend, right? And so, between that and Ole Miss, I have to make Ole Miss the favorite in the game in Atlanta. And even though we've seen this Louisville program, they've been doing good things over the last couple of years. I think they've got the right guy for the job, but 7 wins seems high for me for Louisville.
Yeah, I believe in Satterfield. I think he'll turn that around. I really liked how he got the run game going, and I think we're going to see some surprises out of Louisville. It's just, man, that schedule. I don't know that they can do it now. Luckily for them, if they are to pull off these upsets, they do catch their big teams at home. So that is a plus. I mean, you are catching Clemson at home, Kentucky at home, and UCF. If I was to put the 3 big home games that they must win, you alluded to Boston College there as well. That's a home game because their road slate's pretty difficult.
They get Clemson at home as well, which first time they've been Trevor Lawrence-less in several years. So we don't really know. We have an idea that Clemson is going to be very good, but you don't know what they're going to get from that offense this year compared to what Trevor Lawrence was an automatic, right?
Well, I think he was an automatic, but we saw, and I cannot pronounce his name. I'm not even going to try and mangle it off the top of my head, but we saw him fill in during the COVID absence of Lawrence last year, and man, didn't miss a beat. Yeah, he lost a game, but and I can't off the top of my head remember what matchup that was, but I know it was a nail biter down to the end. It wasn't where he just got completely dominated and blown out of the game. Right.
That Boston College game versus Captain Alphabet was kind of the coming out party for the BC offense as well. So we're coming up on time. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
Oh, man. Too bad I couldn't watch College World Series. But everybody have a great day. Stanley Cup Finals pick back up tomorrow, and we'll make it through today. Hopefully the Braves find a way to get a W, and we can celebrate sweeping the Mets on Friday.
Big game today. All right, brother. We'll see you Friday. No,
be safe.
Not Friday. We're off Friday. I'll see you next week. I'll see you next Tuesday. Because we're off on the 5th as well.
Have a great week, guys.
God bless your liver.
Happy birthday, America.
You dumped a porn star? Friendship over. Friendship over!
Are you a gun enthusiast? Love to shop for guns, but are also looking for friendly service? Well, you're in luck. Here in St. Augustine, Top is the Friendly Gun Shop. Staff is very knowledgeable, happy to see you when you walk through the door, and can assist you with all your gun shopping needs. Top Gun Supply stocks a wide range of firearms, such as Ruger, Beretta, 6 Hour, HK, and LWRC. So stop on by at Top Gun Supply at 525 State Road 16 in St. Augustine. Top Gun Supply here in St. Augustine, the Friendly Gun Shop, a proud sponsor of the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks Drive Time Armchair Quarterback Show on Facebook Live, and make sure to tap that app, the Armchair Quarterbacks app. Google Android, Apple iPhone, good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
Hey, sports fans, football season is here, and it's time to get in on the action. MyBookie.ag has more odds and props than anyone else in the industry. Using MyBookie is simple. Just pick your team, select your odds, and collect your cash. MyBookie.ag has proven to be the most exciting online experience for all sports fans. With the fastest payouts in the industry, there's no other choice than MyBookie.ag. Get in on the action today. Visit MyBookie.ag today.
Make sure to keep it locked in here on Armchair Quarterback Radio. We're not one-trick ponies. We cover the entire NFL, past and present.
3rd down and 6 at the 9. And Bo Jackson to the 20 and out in front. And only one man to beat, and Easley can't run him down. He had the angle, but there goes Bo. And nobody catches Bo. Touchdown. Dion. Back when he started and then turns the corner into Giant territory and leave it to Dion to break it open for a touchdown. What a run! Dion comes in as a receiver. Sanders. And they're going his way, but there's double coverage, and somehow Dion is able to beat the coverage. Intercepted by Sanders. Can he score again? Yep. There he goes, Deion Sanders, 71 yards. And so for Deion tonight, a 59-yard punt return for a TD, a 55-yard pass reception, a 39-yard punt return, and a 71-yard interception return.
Oh my God, I'm really sorry.
I was in the pool!
Good morning. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Welcome back here, CBS Sports Radio. And joining us today is Bobby. Bobby, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Liking the MTSU gear you got on.
Yes, sir. Yeah, actually, I had college customs. I had it just about on Saturday or on Thursday. Sorry, I had it on Thursday, so I went and got some apparel while I was there.
Are you attending MTSU?
I am. Yep, I'm going there next year.
This is the best time to wear MTSU gear. They are currently undefeated.
That's true.
You say
maybe not for long, but
you say next year, this fall you're attending?
Yeah, this fall.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It should be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you some places in MTSU to avoid. You're going to have to get a fake ID, by the way. No one's serving you. when I was your age, it was a little different. They would serve you if you could see over the counter. But
not quite anymore.
We had a roommate that was so short, and I mean, we just could not. Now it was funny. There was a joint in Murfreesboro. It's now something else, but it used to be called the Cubby Den, and it was a dive bar. And anyways, they would not serve him, but at the same token, they would not say jack to him if I went up to the bar, got him a beer, and handed it to him. Now that's not the case.
That's hilarious.
They've become much more stringent. But I remember several times of him complaining about, he goes, why the hell would they let me drink but wouldn't serve me? I'm like, maybe you want to like not bring that up. We're going to run out of place, because he's a really young looking guy at the time. Okay, let's go ahead and start off with the New York Football Jets. I think this is going to be one of the more interesting teams of this year. You can't expect them to go out there and be gangbusters and make the playoffs or whatnot. But you got to figure it's going to be an exciting brand of football. You've got Corey Davis added to this. You obviously have the golden boy, Zach Wilson, and they've got a pretty damn good offensive line. One that they bolstered up through the draft, along with adding Elijah Moore through the draft. And then, of course, Mekhi Becton, who was their first-round pick in 2020, he was phenomenal last year.
Yeah.
So I think the future is extremely bright for the Jets, no matter what their win total is today. But we're in the business of doing that, making the predictions for that. And I will say this, when I look at their depth chart, there's a lot of green on my screen, and the green means that they were drafted this year. There's a lot of green on my screen that's going to be heavy contributors this year. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, you're going to have your growing pains. There's no way of getting around that. You're absolutely going to have growing pains. But with that being said, the Jets might be one of the more fun teams to watch, no matter what their win total is. What say you?
I agree with you. I think it's going to be a lot of, even if it's not too fun to watch, even if this year is a rough start for the Jets, I still think it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out with all the rookies they have. A lot of talent on the offensive side is very, very young. So I think it's going to be fun to watch them grow over time and get better.
Outside of Zach Wilson, what one player do you think could possibly be the diamond in the rough? We'll take Zach Wilson and we'll take Mekhi Becton out of the mix. But give me another player that you're saying, whether it's free agency, whatever, that you believe to be a big time contributor this year, and one that could be a cornerstone for the Jets going forward.
I hate using this as an example because it's a little bit boring and it's offensive line, but I really like that they traded up to pick Elijah Vera Tucker at 14. I like him a lot. He can play inside and outside. He can play pretty much anywhere on the offensive line. He's got that type of skill, and I think he's going to be a big contributor for protecting Zach Wilson alongside Mekhi Becton.
Yeah, I believe that they're going to put him at left guard, and just the two of those it'll be a stone wall trying to get to Wilson's blind side, which is look, if you're a quarterback starting in this league, if you know that your blind side is good, gives you a lot more. I'm not going to say that it's going to be blind confidence, because the game's going to move faster for you than it will a guy in his year 2 or 3, but you're not going to be as jittery if you know you got those two guys who are watching your back constantly. So yeah, I would think Tucker would start this year from the very beginning. You normally don't trade up, and you normally don't get a guy in the first round, especially offensive lineman, that you're not expected to heavily contribute in year 1. The guy that I'm got circled is Elijah Moore. He's coming from what is now, it's become, let's be honest, Elijah Moore is wide receiver university at this point. It's a factory
in recent years.
Yeah, it's been an absolute factory. And I remember watching him in college, several games, and thinking to myself, my God, this guy just explodes. And was really wanting him. Honest Engine, being a Titans fan, that's who I was hoping that the Titans would get.
Yeah,
I'm not terribly disappointed in the Titans draft, and it worked out fine because when they didn't make the draft pick at that point, we talked about it at that time, saying if they don't make a move for a wide receiver right now, that tells me there is a very good chance that Julio Jones is going to be wearing a Tennessee Titan jersey. So I'm fine with how it worked out. But Elijah Moore, you add him to what Corey Davis can do, Keelan Cole coming from the Jaguars, Denzel Mims, who right now, a couple of weeks ago, I saw an article, Cole is actually over Mims in the depth chart right now, which is a little bit of a surprise because he's been a solid wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars for years, but he's never been the dynamic receiver that Denzel Mims was drafted to be. So if Cole continues to outperform him, it's going to tell me something about possibly Denzel Mims' ceiling or maybe even his work ethic, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, you can't forget the fact they got Jamison Crowder there too. So this is going to be an explosive offense. A little worried about what they've got in the running game, but I think they're just going to be chucking it all over the field, so it's not really going to matter. They're probably going to be behind in most games. And I'll put this out here right now. Zach Wilson may not be a terrible fantasy quarterback to have for depth, like a second. You don't want him to be your number one. That's putting a lot of eggs in a basket.
You never draft a rookie quarterback as your number one quarterback.
No. I mean, unless you're just in a ridiculously deep or a ridiculously large league, and you've got like, and you're saying, screw it, I'm going to punt quarterbacks and I'll go catch the hot hand. But he could be something because the fact that they're going to be chucking it all over the field, they're going to be behind. It's just it's going to be their MO, and they don't have much of a running game. LaMichael Perrine is right now listed as their starting running back.
Yeah.
Look, people remember him from college. He's a good athlete, but he's not a starting running back in the National Football League.
I'd love to see him develop into one, though. I loved him at Florida.
Well, I know you're a Florida homer and with, your orange colored glasses and everything, but LaMichael Perrine was not, he wasn't a starter realistically at college. He's not a starting running back. I think it's a better chance that the Michael Carter ends up unseating him before it's all said and done this year.
I like Michael Carter. I do.
Well, I feel like you like everybody. So, that,
I mean, I drafted him in my dynasty league. I think he can be, eventually, it may not be this
draft?
Year. Well, it's for the dynasty league. It's not like the regular 1 year thing. It's for the future,
Yeah, but you've already had your draft?
Yeah, why not?
Oh my God.
We were getting bored. There wasn't much to talk about.
I have so much to teach you, young squire. I'll tell you what you should be doing. You should be in the middle of your fantasy baseball season, not worrying about football for another couple of weeks. That's interesting though. I always see these drafts are going on like in Vegas and everything, like taking place in March and April. I'm like, what are you doing?
We always wait until after the draft. That's for sure.
I did a draft 3-4 years ago, I think it was, and it was one of these national ones that I was invited to, and I played 1 year with these guys. I never did it again. I was like, this is the worst league I've ever been in my life. First of all, the draft I didn't hate. The draft was kind of fun. It began, I want to say, in June, but it was a long draft. So they had it set up where you had to make one pick every 24 hours. Okay.
Oh, geez.
And so you could make it faster than that, but you had 24 hours to make your pick if it came to you. Okay. So there were times where you made multiple picks in a day, but normally you were picking once every 2 to 3 days. Okay. I didn't hate that part of it, but their scoring system and the way that they did their rosters was terrible. They did it for fantasy baseball too. And fantasy baseball was even worse because you can imagine 7 days a week you're playing this. And you could only change your rosters on like Thursdays and Mondays. So that was goofy. I'm like, either make it once a week or make it daily. What the hell are we doing here?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it had to do with their algorithm on their computer was terrible. But the football one wasn't bad. But then the way that they did their pickups, it's too long to explain. But I was like, I'm good, dude. I'm never doing this again. This is just too much. I like the idea of the really long draft, and I wish someone would come up with some kind of website or app that you could do that off of, because I think people would have a lot of fun with that. But then just let me have normal scoring system. Don't screw with everything else. All right, back to real football. The Jets, looking at their schedule for this year. They're going to start off at the Panthers, at home against the Patriots, at the Broncos. They're going to be home against the Titans. They're at home against the Falcons, at the Patriots, at home against the Bengals. Then they're at the Colts, at home against Buffalo and Miami, at Houston, at home against Eagles and Saints, at Dolphins, and at home against the Jaguars and Bucks before they end it all in Buffalo. All right, we'll go ahead and start this. We'll do 4 games at a time. You got at Panthers, Patriots, at Broncos, at home against Titans. Pretty tough slate to start the season off. Where do you have them after those first 4 games?
I have them sitting at 1-3, and I think their one win will come against Denver. I don't like Denver's quarterback situation with Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater, and I think they'll at least pick up 1 of the 3 games. Like you said, the Jets have a really explosive offense, and I think that'll at least get them 1 of the wins in that stretch.
I'm going to say they're going to beat the Panther. I mean, sorry, they're going to lose to the Panthers. I would think they would lose to the Titans unless the Titans really just crap the bed. The Broncos game, I can see giving them a win. And if Cam Newton is the starter, I'm going to give the Jets the W in week 2. So I'm going to have them at 2-2 because that's how much I do not believe in Cam Newton. Now, if they put Mac Jones in like they should, scratch what I said. But right now, today, they're claiming that he's the starter. I think Zach Wilson will find enough points to beat the, and those Patriot Jets games, no matter what the records have been, they're always tight neck games.
Yeah.
I'm just going to bank on the fact that the athlete behind center, the better athlete in today is actually Zach Wilson over Cam Newton, who's falling apart at the seams.
Yeah.
Your next 4 games, they're at home against the Falcons. They're at the Patriots again. They're at home against the Bengals, and then they're at the Colts. What say you in this stretch?
I have them going 2-2 here. They're 2 wins coming against the Patriots and the Bengals back to back. I know it's weird to pick the home team to, I guess, lose in a 2-game series, but I think by this point in the season, by week 6, I think the Jets offense will start to mesh a little bit better, and I think it'll be too much for the Patriots. And then with the Bengals game, I think the Jets are simply a better team than the Bengals, and they got the home field advantage, and I think they'll win that game.
And then obviously a loss to the Colts on Fox. I'm thinking that's probably a Thursday night game, just the way they have it written up. I doubt that's a Sunday night game or anything like that.
No.
I'm going to go with an 0-4 stretch here. I think the Falcons will beat them because it's over in London, and who the hell knows what's going to happen there if it's over in London, but it should be. And I just figure a veteran team like the Falcons is going to deal with that better than a bunch of kids from New York going over to London. When they come back and play the Patriots almost 2 weeks later, I think Mac Jones will be the starting quarterback. So I think you're going to Mac Jones versus Zach Wilson showdown, which would be a lot of fun to watch. I'm going to give the Patriots the nod there. I think the Bengals are better than the Jets, assuming Joe Burrow comes back and is healthy and ready to roll. I was impressed by what Burrow and the Bengals were doing. They were a feisty team before that injury, and so I do believe it is in New York. So I get what you're saying there, but I'm going to take a stab and say the Bengals probably win that game. Then they're at the Colts. If they win that game, the Colts are in a lot of trouble because they should beat the Jets at home. Bills and Dolphins at home back to back, at Houston, and then at home against the Eagles. What you got?
I got 1-3 in that stretch. I think they'll beat the Texans of those 4 teams. Sorry, I think that's a pretty easy prediction to make considering how the Texans look to be this year. But yeah, I think the Bills and the Dolphins, I think they'll both sweep the Jets. I think I'm not trying to discredit the Jets too much here, but the Bills and Dolphins are much better teams. And then I think the Eagles, I think they'll be able to beat the Jets at home or on the road.
I figure the Jets will get one of those wins somewhere, probably the Texans. And they may the Bills ought to be able to blow them out, and the Dolphins ought to be able to beat them. I don't see the Eagles is the game that question marks, because when you get the second season and defense gets to see how to shut down Jalen Hurts, it'll be interesting to see how good they are. Plus, by the time you get to that part of the season, Zach Wilson is no longer realistically a rookie. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they find a way to get a W there, although I'm not that confident in it. So right now we both have them at 4-8 heading into it'll be the last 5 games of the season. You get the Saints at home, at the Dolphins, at home against the Jaguars, at home against the Bucks, and then at the Buffalo Bills. What say you?
I think they'll pick up 2 of these games, and those 2 games will be the first and the last ones. I think they'll beat the Saints at home. I think it'll be a pretty close game, but I think this will be their kind of upset win this year. And then week 18 now. I think they'll beat the Bills solely because the Bills will probably have a top seed clinched already by then, and I think it'll be kind of just a backup type of game for the Bills.
So you've got them going 6-11. I'm going to say 5-12. The game that intrigues me the most on that docket, considering where they are in franchises, is Jacksonville versus the Jets. When we get to 12, so it'll be December 26th, day after Christmas. The Jets will be at home. I know it's a game that most people are going to overlook, but that should be a fun game. Trevor Lawrence versus Zach Wilson. Essentially, they'll have their offenses underneath them. They'll know what the hell they're doing. They'll have a good litmus test for where their franchises are going for the 2022 season. I'm looking forward to that. I think that should be a really fun game. And look, they might beat the Bills because the Bills might have everyone resting, right?
Yeah.
But all in all, I've got them going 5-12. You got them 6-11. Not much of a difference. I'm sure Jets fans like, if I'm going to go 5-12, make me 0-17 so I get the number again, right? At some point, you start pulling against your team because you're like, it's time to tank. The hell with this. NBA playoffs real quick. The big thing I wanted to hit you with, because this is a heavy rumor coming out of New York City. Last couple of days, Damian Williams on his way out, heading towards to either the Knicks.
Damian Lillard?
Huh?
Did you say Damian Lillard?
Yeah, Lillard. Sorry, Lillard. Dame time, heading towards the Knicks or possibly the Nets in the next year or so.
I'm not buying too much into it until I see some hard sources say so. It's hard for me to believe the speculation. I feel like I see it every offseason. The media tries to push a narrative that Dame wants out, but he's said it time and time again. He doesn't want to play for another team if it's not Portland because we drafted him and he's had that loyal mentality all the way through. I'm sure there's a little bit of frustration internally with the hiring of the new coach, like the coaching process and stuff, how the roster is built right now. So I think some change will need to be made certainly to keep him happy, but I don't think he'll quite yet force a trade out.
I think he's going to leave Portland at some point. I really do. And I hate that for Portland fans such as yourself.
Yeah.
But he's talked this big game the last few years about how you build it within and you stay, and that's fine when you're a young guy. You start hitting that age where you're like, man, what's my legacy going to be if I'm constantly getting bounced out of the playoffs? I think Portland's got about 1 year or so left to try to make sure that he stays, because if he does not stay, if he does not get help and I don't know how you attract someone to go live in Portland. It's not the cleanest city in the world, and it's been an absolute dumpster fire for the past year or so politically. That's going to be difficult to talk him into staying. And when the bright lights, because look, if they can get rid of Kyrie and add Damian Lillard, whoo, look out.
Yeah.
That's a wrap. If he really wants to play on the big stage, which I think he enjoys, New York City, the New York Knicks, turn that franchise around, man, that could be something special.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, because we're running out of time. Quickly, because by the time I see you next time, we will be in the next round. Who's going to make it to the NBA Finals?
Oh man, I want to say the Clippers. I really, really do, but I think the Suns will get it done. I think they'll close out the series. I think they'll win it in 7. I think they might come in kind of asleep in Game 6. I don't think they'll make the right adjustments quite yet, but I think Game 7 that'll be a little bit of a wake up call that they're one game away from blowing the series, and I think they'll go out and win that one. And then out east, I think the Bucks. I thought the Hawks would have won it, but with how the Bucks have been playing the last couple games, I think they'll wrap up the series in about 6 games.
Well, Young's injury is devastating. I think if he doesn't get injured, that they win the other night, and that gives them a leg up in the series. Obviously, with his injury, no matter how, even if he can go tonight, you're now going to have to beat them 3 of the next 4 games. That's a tough road, especially with the majority that's going to be on the road. And as far as I've been picking the Suns all year long, but they're going to have to make an adjustment because they were not ready for the Clippers to play zone defense. And they played right into the Clippers' hand. They're going to have to adjust to that and not take the first shot that they've got and work the ball around the court. All right, it's time to turn back time and get the hell on out of here as we finish another armchair. By the way, little birdie told me that you'll be joining us for the college football kickoff show.
Yeah, I talked to Matt a little bit about that. I'm looking forward to that.
All right, man.
I am.
Welcome aboard. That will begin obviously when college football season starts. It'll be Saturdays, same time, 8:30 to 9:30. All right, awesome. Time to turn back time and get on out of here on what is it? We're already at June 29th. It's unbelievable that it's already this late in the season. Here we go. All right, on this date in 1897. Now this is dead ball era baseball, right? The Chicago Colts, who eventually become the Cubs, established the record for the most runs scored in a game by one team when they clobbered the Louisville Colonels, which are very historic in their own right. That is where the Louisville Slugger came from, was making bats for the Louisville Colonels. They beat them 36-7. The Cardinals will beat the Phillies 28-6 at the Baker Bowl in 1929 to set the modern day NL mark. That ball wasn't dead that day in 1897. 36-7. The hell was going on out there? And then also on this date, 1958, FIFA World Cup final, as Pele scores 2 goals for Brazil to beat Sweden 5-2. If y'all missed it, Sweden had a very emotional come from behind victory against France yesterday in the Euro Cup. Have you ever heard of Pele?
I have, actually. My dad told me about him when I was younger.
Okay.
We were talking about soccer a little bit. We're not too big soccer guys, but we know he was a pretty big name in the sport, so we talked about him a little bit.
I met him when I was a young child playing soccer. I got to shake his hand on the field. It's a long story.
That's awesome.
But yeah, Pele, the GOAT, the real GOAT. Birthdays, real quick. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday, man! Is it really? All right. 76 years old. Pedro Guerrero. You ever heard of him? Probably not.
I do. I think I recognize the name.
Hell of a. Actually, he'd be pissed at me right now. He's 66 years old. I can't give him 10 years. I was wondering, like, man, how is he that old? I watched him play. Pedro Guerrero from the Dominican Republic played for the LA Dodgers, what he's most known for. Had the big pimpin' Jerry curl back in the day. And then give you a dead guy. Ever heard of Harmon Killebrew?
I have not.
One of the greats of all times. Look up Harmon Killebrew sometime on YouTube. He had forearms like tree trunks. It was unbelievable. Played for the Minnesota Twins back in the 60s. He was born in this state in 1936. One of the most underrated players, realistically, of all time. Unbelievable. Like, you see him, you're like, good God, what was he doing in the offseason? Like, lifting trucks? What's your walk-off for the day, sir?
Walk-off for the day. I know it's kind of a common theme to talk about basketball games, but Hawks Bucks tonight. I think this game ultimately it's a must-win game for the Hawks. I think with Trae Young's injury, he's going to have to battle through that. I'm hoping he's able to. I'd like to see this series be a little bit more competitive and not decided by an injury. But I think it'll be a close game, and I think it'll be one you don't want to miss.
I give it in the next couple hours that LeBron's going to be tweeting out about how bad this is and they shouldn't have been playing when stop it. He got hurt because he stepped on a ref's foot, but he'll
that was out of anybody's
because it's because of short rests and all that junk. I hope he plays too. I've enjoyed watching Trae Young, and nothing against the Bucks, but I'd rather see Hawks Suns. My walk-off today, Braves Mets, big series begins today at 7:20 Eastern, and it's better watching that than the terribly rigged College World Series that I refuse to even acknowledge.
Yeah, that was a disappointing ending for NC State. That was really disappointing.
It was garbage. It was that never would have happened if the roles were reversed. ESPN had a heavy hand in that. We will see you next week, sir.
Awesome. Have a good one.
4th of July.
Thank you. You too.
See y'all tomorrow. Sean O'Toole and I will be talking the National Hockey League.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette.